The DOJ naming former FBI Director Robert Mueller as special counsel to oversee the Russian investigation. But our next guest claims that Mueller has a serious conflict of interest that should disqualify him from this position, maybe a few conflicts of interest.
That's right. Fox News anchor and former defense attorney Gregg Jarrett is here to explain.
Good morning, Greg.
Good to see you, Greg. You've had an interesting take on this from the beginning. A lot of people praising the pick of Mueller, but you say there's another side to it.
Look, he has impeccable credentials. He's eminently qualified. The problem is he has a glaring conflict of interest. The law governing the special counsel says you cannot serve if you have a conflict of interest. What's his conflict? His long and close working and personal relationship with James Comey. Comey is going to be a key pivotal witness in the case. The investigation into interference and collusion will morph into now the Comey meeting privately with President Trump. So Mueller on the far left has to decide the credibility in this he said. Is he going to believe his good friend or the man who fired his good friend? Even impeccably honest people can be influenced subtly and psychologically in ways they don't even understand or appreciate or recognize themselves. You know, if we're to have trust in our system of justice and fidelity to the law, we have to make sure that it's absolutely fair and impartial and objective. And this raises serious questions by virtue of Mueller and Comey. They were known to be joined at the hip.
Almost mentor-protege type.
They were mentor-protege. And look, you know, they stood together in solidarity in the controversy surrounding the warrantless wiretap case back in 2004. Both of them together said to the President of the United States back then, George Bush, "We're going to resign if you don't take action." Look, that makes the entire exercise suspect.
Greg, you have been digging so deep into this. You understand the legality of all of it. Are we at a Watergate level? Because if you watch the media or you read it, I'll read you. This is the New York Times editorial from this morning. They say the national interest and the integrity of the democratic process are undeniably at stake in this investigation, and it may turn out that the president and his associates have engaged in an attempt to obstruct justice. Really bad stuff could turn up, but Watergate, we are not there yet. That is a word that summons obstruction on a monumental scale. That's coming from the New York Times.
Well, a couple of things, and it's all about the law, obstruction of justice. Wishing and hoping that Flynn gets cleared because he's a good guy doesn't constitute specific intent for obstruction of justice. If the president had said, "Stop your investigation or you're fired," arguably that's obstruction, but this isn't. The second point is, look at the order that Rod Rosenstein sent to the special counsel. It tells him to investigate a crime of collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians. There is no crime of collusion in an election. There's no statute that says that's a crime. It's stupid, it's bad, it's wrong. Maybe someday there should be a crime, but there's no crime. So he's tasked with searching for a crime that by legal definition doesn't exist.
We had Alan Dershowitz on the couch yesterday, Pete, who was a Democrat who said the exact same thing that you're saying.
Yeah, exactly right.
And he's right.
And it pertains to the memos. The Comey memos now, the one that was about the one particular meeting. Is there going to be an opportunity to look at memos from earlier, say Loretta Lynch and former President Bill Clinton on the tarmac? Are there other memos? Because there are other instances of you could say obstruction or other, you know, what's another one? The Hillary Clinton, the DOJ, any memos there that could reveal things?
I'm glad you brought it up, because just a few days ago, Rosenstein met privately with members of Congress. He told them that Comey's handling of the Clinton email case was, quote, wrong and unfair. Well, if so, why hasn't the Department of Justice reopened that investigation and re-examined the evidence and decide, maybe with a special counsel, whether in fact she did violate the Espionage Act? It was Comey who laid out a perfect case for violation and then said, well, no reasonable prosecutor would bring the case. My goodness. There are thousands of prosecutors in America who would have happily brought that case.
So where does this go from here quickly? Because the American people, they're trying to wrap their head around all these details. It's so confusing. How should they be thinking about it, and where does it go?
Well, it's going to be interesting because this is new territory. You've got 4 congressional committees doing an investigation simultaneous with a special counsel. Counsels generally take months, if not years, to conduct their investigation. So, I mean, who knows what's going to happen next? There are conflicting interests here. You've got a very active president. He's combative, so we just got to wait and see.
Unpredictable. Greg Jarrett, great to have you here.
Thanks, Greg.
Nice to be here.
Appreciate that.